right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back. It's Harmless Dave here, the real music observer, observing real music in real time for real people, just like you right there and just like me right here. Um, I want to go back and talk about the Journey breakup from the late 90s because this has to do with everything that's interesting about Journey to me right now, and it has been since Perry came back and gave some interviews and talked about the 31-year timeline and how he was toast, and didn't really go into details about coming back for his second solo album or coming back for Trial by Fire. Okay, it's almost as if he just goes back to '87 and just says, "Yeah, I was done. I walked away." And we know that's not necessarily true. He walked back a couple of times. And the big one where he walked back for me was Trial by Fire, which for Journey fans is a masterpiece of a record. It's just a fantastic record. And a lot of folks didn't get closure on that when they bought it, and they were hoping a tour would ensue. And that's why when Journey Through Time goes out there and they do this medley and they include a snippet of Trial by Fire, the actual song, fans go crazy because they've never heard that performed live by anybody. I get it. We know the story. Perry walked away because of the hip. He waited. He had a great line during the VH1 documentary where he said, hey, surgery is a personal thing. Major surgery is a personal thing. And these guys are pushing me to get the surgery. And I'm thinking to myself, well, here's the deal. If you love the music you just created and you love these guys enough to come back and perform that music with them, then why wouldn't you get the surgery? He didn't want to get the surgery. He did end up getting the surgery later on, I think after the breakup started, when those phone calls were made and the attorneys were contacted. And keep in mind, Steve Perry made out very well in this divorce. He's still getting paid alimony today via live concert revenue and obviously the publishing, which he should get, but he tends to be the deciding factor, like The Sopranos, for instance. He was the deciding vote that got Don't Stop Believin' on The Sopranos because he held out and he wanted to know, how the song was going to be used. The other guys were just like, use the song, because they probably just figured more publicity for us, regardless of how the song is being used. But Perry wanted some artistic protection in case the song was being used in the wrong way. So I get that. But Perry is a big player. But what he did was he held everybody else hostage. And I think that's why both of these entities may be at fault. Maybe Journey could have waited longer. Maybe they could have given him some kind of ultimatum, said, hey, we'll wait 5 years. But after that, and then find a lawyer and say, look, this guy comes back. Yeah, he's sick, but he's not getting surgery, or he's injured. I shouldn't say sick, but yeah, it's a degenerative bone disease, so maybe you could say sick. We want to be able to work. And I think if you watch the VH1 documentary, band members are basically saying we wanted to work. We wanted to go out on tour. And as the music industry had been changing, and it was really in the process of changing then, music wasn't being purchased as much anymore, whereas the live concert revenue was the big thing. Styx was doing the same thing, talking about Dennis DeYoung saying, oh, he didn't want to tour, and which wasn't true, by the way, but we needed to go out and make money because the entire industry has changed and Dennis doesn't like touring and blah, blah, blah. Well, Steve Perry hasn't really liked touring since 1994. And I think he grew a bit tired of it in 1987. And even today, his big announcement, Steve Perry's big announcement the other day was a 3D album cover. People were hanging on the fact that maybe he's going to tour. Finally, he's going to tour. He's going to go out there. Because his fans would love to see him, even in, lower keys, lower octaves. They'd love to hear Steve Perry's voice live. They'd love to see him interacting with the audience. he would sell out probably every mid-size venue out there. He would, but I've been told that he's just not up for it. He just isn't something that he can physically or mentally really do right now. But going back in time, the closure aspect of everything in Steve Perry's career with Journey, I'm just thinking, it took two entities here to make this go south. And, I think Steve Perry has made his point about how the band wouldn't wait for him. But you have to look at the band's situation saying, we created all this great music, we had a new album, and then we had to stop. And as time has gone on, Neil Schon is really, the controlling force in this group, because he's been there since the very beginning, and he's been a part of everything that they've done. And he also bent to the will of Steve when Steve changed everything in '86, and certainly was apt to do what Steve wanted to do. And Neil was a support player. Neil was like Steve Perry's wrecking crew, and I think Neil gets the shaft on a lot of things as time has gone on. Neil is, he's surviving because he loves music so much, and he loves to create, and he loves to go out there, and he immerses himself, but he also does a lot of projects. This isn't a guy who's slowing down. And whereas Steve Perry came to a complete stop, and I think the two personalities and how they're dealing with this part of their life, you couldn't get a more different personality or perspective, and it's probably why Steve Perry just wants to lay low. He doesn't want all of this. He doesn't want the spotlight. He doesn't want all of the craziness anymore. But as Journey fans, some of us like the craziness because we like to see our old band out there still doing relevant things, and hence Journey Through Time, which I think is a really exciting project and I'm looking forward to. So, kind of a roundabout Dave stream of consciousness video here. Nothing out of the ordinary, just me ranting and raving about how it took two sides of this to make it go nowhere. And financially speaking, Steve Perry made out better than anybody else. So, there you go. See ya.